If you're a federal employee, especially one within shouting distance of retirement, you're going to want to lean in for today's episode because today we're unpacking what's quietly becoming one of the biggest shakeups to federal retirement benefits in decades. Congress is debating legislation that could eliminate the FERS supplement and force higher distribution rates for new hires and throw a wrench into your carefully laid retirement plans. If it's, well, we're not trying to fearmonger, but it's already passed the House, and depending on what survives in the Senate, the game could change in 2028. But don't worry, we're not here to scare you. We're here to give you clarity, strategy, and solutions so that you can stay ahead of it all. So welcome back to the show where we cut through the noise and get real about financial planning that actually matters. Joining me today is someone who knows this inside and out. He's an expert in this area, Larry Gates, co-host for today's episode and a specialist in federal employee benefits. He's with Copperwood Financial, the principal owner, and Larry's helped hundreds of federal workers build rock-solid retirement strategies through policy changes, shutdowns, and whatever else Congress throws at them. Welcome to the show, Larry.
Hey, thanks for having me. Yeah, with all the deferred resignation offers, it's kind of interesting as a financial planning firm. We normally help maybe 12 to 20 people a year actually is their year to retire. And here since about February, we've probably helped 40 to 50 people just in the last couple of months, all federal employees navigate whether they can take these deferred resignations, what their retirement plans look like, building their income sources, making sure that they can afford to retire. So yeah, glad to be on today. Lots of changes going on with what just came out of the House's version of the big beautiful bill and what's going on to the Senate. So lots of big changes.
Well, and I appreciate it. You're my go-to as an Army veteran. I also have to, and my wife being a teacher, which isn't federal, but still government benefits are a whole different topic altogether when it comes to retirement planning. Today, we're going to be diving into the major proposed changes to the federal employee retirement system that could reshape how federal workers retire and what it means for their benefits. So again, joining us today, Larry Gates, thank you for taking the time. Let's start out with what's going on in Congress right now with the FERS supplement. Where is it at? And what are we looking at in your mind as far as the potential of what could happen as it makes it through the House?
So right now, today, as we're looking at this, it's the last week of June, about to be July here. So wanted to talk about what's going on. So the big splash was in the House's version of the big beautiful bill, right? For federal employees in the House version, it proposed an elimination of the FERS supplement. And the other thing that it did is it introduced a high 3 to a high 5 average salary calculation as a way to restructure federal pensions. It also pushed around some things with potentially what federal employees are going to be contributing to their retirement plans, but there's a lot of things out there. And then we just saw, it seems like the Senate's versions are getting rid of some of these reductions and shoring up things. But yeah, so let's jump in. So
can you help us understand the difference between high 3 versus high 5 so that those who don't understand can better comprehend what you're talking about?
Yes. So the way that a federal pension in the FERS system is run today, right? It is based on the high 3 average salary. What that means is it's your highest 36 consecutive months. The proposal that was laid out, and it was all over the federal news channels for employees, is that they were looking to move that to a high 5 years of consecutive earnings in their formula. Well, we all know federal employees, you've gotten some pretty good step up in raises. And if you've taken a promotion, if you've taken on a new title, now we're averaging your most recent 5 years as opposed to 3 years, 36 months. So your average salary calculation in this scenario, I don't see a lot of instances where your pension calculation would have gone down. So that's a big one. Um, Luckily, the Senate's version of the bill seems like it has dropped that, but we maybe have some proposals coming around what the contribution amount is going to be to the FERS retirement system.
Okay, so what's the difference between a federal employee, how it will impact a federal employee who's kind of mid-career versus a federal employee who's really close to retirement?
Sure. If you're mid-career, there's you're along for the ride, right? There's not a whole lot of like what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a look at your retirement numbers. Always be looking, when am I fully eligible? So what is my minimum retirement age? Um, 30 years of service at minimum retirement age, so generally 57 or maybe a little bit older, 60 years with 20 years of service, or 62 with 5 years of service. And if you're a mid-career employee, unless you're planning on leaving the federal government, the biggest thing to do is be prepared and understand how the calculation is going to work. If in 10 years when you go to retire, your average salary calculation is going to step down, you just want to know about it and you want to make sure that you build your plan accordingly. If you're looking at retirement in the next couple of years, we want to watch for when the final version of this bill comes out. Is this language in here? What's it going to do? There was talk in the first supplement that that's going to be eliminated starting in 2028. So maybe you want to look at retiring before 2028, so that way you're still grandfathered in there. So yeah, the closer that you are to retirement, kind of the less changes that you can make, but it is going to impact your retirement plan. So you need to be on top of it and have a plan.
This feels a little bit like playing chess with the federal government. And I think I need a coach. You're hired.
You're
Because
right.
keeping track of all of these changes dramatically changes the recommendations of what people should do, how should they respond. And it's really difficult. Most people don't think about this stuff. They're ignoring what's happening in Congress right now, and they have no idea how it could or could not impact them. How can they stay connected with you to be able to see what the latest updates are, what's happening with each version, what's approved, what's not approved, and how to respond?
As as we see change, right? Like playing a game of chicken, like we don't want to alarm anybody. And I feel like it hit the federal, as I call it, like the federal employee water cooler talk. Like when they were talking high three to high five, everybody was running around like, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever. What's going to happen? However, right, like the House bill came out and then the Senate bill looks like it's taken that out of there. So there's changes and things happening. We send out regular communication as we see things happening that are either changing with estate planning, with tax, with Social Security, with benefits calculations. We want to make sure that federal employees as a whole are in the know on this sort of thing. And if they need to, modify their plan, if they want help putting together a more in-depth analysis of what they're looking at, 100%. Let's take that step. Let's dig in.
Well, I also think uh, if you are a federal employee and trying to stay on top of this stuff, you could also follow Larry on any of his social medias. They're going to all be posted in the description of whatever platform you're watching this live on. And I'd encourage you to follow him so that he'll be posting regular social media posts about any relevant and timely changes and his recommendations about what you should do. Is there anything else that you think that a federal employee who's listening right now should do now based on what we know, other than kind of looking out for what's to come?
The the other one, the other big change that's going to come or not come, depending on what version of the bill comes out in budget reconciliation, is the FERS supplement. So the FERS supplement, if I back up, right? When federal employees moved from CSRS, CSRS, to the FERS, FERS system, when they made that move, CSRS employees did not contribute to Social Security. When they moved to the FERS system, FERS employees contribute to Social Security. The problem that they ran into was that FERS employees, federal employees, can retire as early as age 57, or if you're special provision, even earlier. So to make up for the fact that Social Security doesn't start until 62, there was a formula that they ran where they take your age 62 Social Security benefit times your years of service and divided it by 40. And that's how they got to the FERS supplement. The FERS supplement pays out anytime that you retire fully eligible until you turn 62. It's not until you turn on Social Security, it's until you turn 62, and then the FERS supplement stops. So if they get rid of that benefit for federal employees, anybody looking to retire prior to age 62, this could throw a serious shortfall in your monthly income that's coming from the federal government. So we need to make sure that we bake that into the plan.
Wow, this is much more complicated than I even thought talking to you the first couple times. But and the fact that it can be changed. I'm thinking about even just regular retirees hearing that taxation on Social Security was considered being revoked, which is a major change in and of itself. And then you take all this other federal employee changes and law changes. It really can. Well, let me ask you, how big of a difference can it make if people don't respond to these changes appropriately?
I mean, I would say on average, if you look at an average FERS supplement as maybe if we say it's in the range of, $1,000 to $1,500 a month, that's, you're talking $15,000 a year of income that may no longer be there depending on how this legislation goes. So, definitely a big planning strategy, because potentially now you're looking to have to draw funds from your TSP much earlier, to supplement that gap.
Yeah, and for a lot of federal employees, that could mean the difference between being able to fully retire or not, where they have to continue working at some level to meet the gap because they didn't see this coming.
Correct. Yeah.
So that's significant. So let's talk about, before we go, the things that, what do you recommend or want to draw attention to that federal employees can control today, whether they're considering a federal job right now and negotiating benefits, or whether they're already a federal employee? What are like fixed certainties that they can advise you would give to control what you can right now?
Man, I don't think that you could have said that any better, right? And there's a lot of things, the feedback, I'm not a federal employee. The feedback that I get from a lot of federal employees is like, hey, when you work for the federal government, like sometimes things are just the way that they are, and you might as well not question it because you can't control it. So you just play in the playground that you're given. When it comes to like retirement saving and retirement planning, whether this goes through or not, I mean, unless you're a congressman, you really don't have a whole lot of control over this. But what you do have control over is things like, how much money are you putting into your TSP? How much are you contributing to your TSP? How much are you contributing on a Roth versus traditional tax basis? Are you invested aggressively? Do you maybe need to change your given allocation? If you're already maxing out your TSP and now it looks like this first supplement, or that your pension is going to be a little bit lower because of the changes, right? Maybe we start saving more in a sidecar investment account that's going to supplement some income and be there for you, because those are the things that you can control, right?
Right.
We can control that. The other piece that I would recommend for federal employees, if you go on to like your Employee Express, your Fed HR Navigator, the first thing you can run retirement simulations so you can get estimates of your numbers. The other thing that you should do, especially if you have military time, If you have part-time breaks in service, any sort of goofy service history, not like, hey, I've been working full-time for the government since I was 28 years old, go online and request your certified summary of federal service. So that's one thing that you can do. You will have to do it when you file a retirement application. So it's better that you request the certified summary of federal service. HR, you submit that to your HR department. HR fills in what they show for your work history, and then they give it back to you. If you don't agree with that, right? Take a look at your DD 214, take a look at your service dates, take a look at, when did I take a leave from the government? What was my part-time calculation? Once you agree that federal HR has the same service record that you have, then you can sign it. You'll submit that along with your retirement application. But a lot of people, I would say, wait on this and then they go to get their retirement estimates, and it turns out that they've been computing their service computation date wrong all along. So that's something you can do tomorrow. So that's an easy step, something to knock off of your to-do list here.
Outstanding. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time today, Larry. It's been super informative. And where can people find you if they'd like to have a conversation with you? Where should they go to follow up?
If you are looking to get a hold of us, we've got advisors. We work all over the country virtually. We work with people from all over, all different departments. Follow us on our socials, reach out to us, send us a direct message, send us an email, get in touch. We will, would love to have a conversation with you.
Outstanding. Thanks again, Larry, for joining us. And look out for next week's episode. We'll be announcing on all of his social media channels the day and time. So click on one of the social channels below, hit follow, and we'll see you next week. Thanks, Larry.
Take care.